Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's tutorial is all about this beautiful maxi high low or waterfall skirt. I have here 6 meters of fabric, but I'll be using 4 meters for this project. So this is how I calculate my fold over fabric. I'll be making reference to this write-up as we move along in the tutorial. So I have folded my fabric at 36 inches. I'll take this 36 inches round to make a half circle. Our aim is to have a full circle that measures 71 inches. So we are going to cut 2 of this. Now I have my 2 half circles cut out. I'll go ahead and join them together using my overlocker. If you're working with a fabric that has a pattern, always ensure that the patterns are lined correctly. That way it will be difficult to fish out any joining or any fault. My fabric is all joined, and as you can see, my pattern did not align correctly, but I corrected this but off camera, so take note of this. Another point to take note is never place the joining vertically. It must stay horizontally, otherwise you will have a line in your center front skirt, and we don't want that. The length of our back skirt according to our calculation is 43.5 inches, calculations on the screen. So I've measured 43.5 inches, and I'm just measuring the distance from the joining to the 43.5 before I fold over my fabric. For me, it's 7.5 inches. This will help me fold correctly, maintaining the same 7.5 inches from the joining to the fold over. So I'm just reconfirming the measurements to be sure I have the correct length. I have folded over my fabric, and as you can see, the skirt has already taken shape. I will go ahead and impute the radius of my waist. The radius of my waist is 5.5 inches, calculations on the screen. Please do not forget to add your seam allowances before cutting your fabric. Of course, this skirt can be complete without some pockets. I love me some pockets, but if you don't, you can skip this step. Waistbands can be tiring sometimes, but if you want a touch of class to your garments, please don't skip this step. Instead of the long strip of fabric, do this instead. I'll be using my pant block to create this waistband. You can also use a skirt block if you have one. You will get the same result. I am marking 2 inches of my waistband on the pant block with my darts closed, and I'll go ahead and trace it out on another fresh paper. So I have traced a quarter of my band. I will fold it at the center and report this tracing to the other side so that I can have the full length of my front band. If you cut this band on fold without doing this, you're going to have a band with a V shape, and that is not our aim. Now we have our front band in full length, and then if you look at the center, it curved in way too deep. So I'll go in with my French curve to make this correction. This is why you must draw the full length of the band in order to correct this. If you measure the distance from the old line to the new line, it's 0.25 inches. I will continue to go in and out with my ruler till I get the perfect curve, then I'll clean off the old line. So I'm just remarking my waistband by placing my tape on the new line. I'll connect the lines and we'll have our new waistband. My waist circumference is 32 inches. Divide by 2 for the front and back will be 16 inches each. So my front band will be 16 inches, which is what I am verifying here. Half of that 16 inches is 8, so our band is correct. I'll go ahead and add my seam allowances, cut it out, and I will do the same for the back. The back band I did off camera because I didn't want the video to be too long, but it's the same procedure. The bands are ready. The back band I did only one because we have a zipper at the back, so the back will be cutting it on fold. I'll go ahead and cut out our band, 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces on each side of the back, so the back will be 4. And do not forget your notches, it's very important. For the back lining of your band, make sure you turn over the pattern before cutting to avoid cutting the same thing. I mark the wrong sides of the band so that I don't get confused, and I'm also verifying if I cut out the bands correctly, which I did. I will go ahead and add interfacing to my waistband to give it some stability. So here are all the materials we'll be working with. Our bands interfaced, our invisible zipper, our pockets. I'll be adding lining to my skirt and then the fabric for our skirt. I have cut open the skirt. I have separated the front from the back. This is the front. And this is the back. I have also cut open the back center where I'll be attaching the zip. I went down 3 inches from my waistline for the pocket and I make a notch. My pocket opening is 7 inches. These 7 inches include 1 inch seam allowance, ½ inch on both sides of the pocket. My pocket level will be 5 inches with my bands attached. So I'll go ahead and attach all 4 pockets, overlock it and top stitch on the pocket. I have overlocked the pocket with my machine and this is what it looks like. I'll go ahead and top stitch on the pocket. I did all overlocking for this skirt with my sewing machine and it really turned out good. This is what your pocket will look like when you top stitch on it. It gives it a neat finish and makes your pocket lay flat. I'm joining the front panel to the back panel with pins. I'll go ahead and stitch them together and then we'll move over to attaching of the bands. This is how your side seams will turn out when you top stitch on your pocket. You can hardly tell where the pocket is, so I highly recommend top stitching on your pocket. I have attached the pocket and have joined the front skirt to the back. I forgot to leave some space on the two sides of the waistline of the skirt, so I went back in and opened it for easy attachment of our waistband. For the waistband for the front and the back skirt, I placed the right side of the band to the right side of the skirt, pinned it up and went ahead to stitch it up. Our waistband is installed. I will make some cuts on the seam allowance to release any tension. You know our front band is slightly curved. I will go ahead and join both sides of the band. I'm only showing one side so that the video don't get too long. On our band pattern, we added 0.75 inch seam allowance, but on our skirt, our seam allowance is 0.5, so I'll be cutting off the excess 0.25 from our band. So now I will attach the lining of my band, the same method I use in attaching the band, making sure my notches match. I will sew up the side seam, cut off the excess 0.25 inch from both sides and join the bands with a straight stitch. The lining of the band has been attached. I placed the side seam of my skirt facing each other. This will make my pocket to stay down facing forward. I will go ahead and clip in on the seams to release any tension, trim off excess seam allowance and top stitch on the lining. At the center back of our band, I will also trim off the excess. It is always better to have excess than to be short of fabric. Our waistband has been successfully installed. Now for the zipper, I'm using an invisible zipper. So now I'm measuring my waistline to know how much seam allowance left, and here we have 8.5 inches. Remember our waist circumference is 32 inches. Divide by 4 will be 8 inches. So we'll be attaching the zip at the 1/2 inch seam allowance. I reopened the lining of the band for the installation of this zip. I forgot to leave some space before joining the lining of the band to the band. My stitch length for the zip is 10 inches. The zip has been successfully installed. The lines on the waistband are aligned correctly. This is what I was talking about. I will go ahead and stitch it close and top stitch it. At this point, the skirt is actually complete. You can go ahead and do your finishing and hem your skirt, but I went ahead and added lining to mine. You can skip this step if you're not using lining. My lining measured 34 inches in length and 45 inches in width. I folded the 34 inches in two and cut it open. So I have 34 inches for the front and 34 for the back, and in width is 22.5 inches. I'm joining the two 34 inches together to have a single long fabric, and I'll run a basting stitch to gather it. I am done gathering the lining, but at this point I realized the fabric was way too much. I reduced the length of the lining by adjusting the gathers while attaching the lining to the skirt. This was the amount I removed, 26.5 inches in total. I have attached the lining to the band. I'll go ahead and attach the lining to the zip, sew close the back seam of the skirt and the back seam of the lining. The center back of the skirt and the lining has been sewn and the lining hemmed, so I'll go ahead and stitch close the bands and finish off the hem of the skirt. Our skirt is all done, neatly sewn. I added lining because of the experience I've had with this kind of style when it gets windy. Remember at the beginning of the video I said that I corrected the flow of the pattern, and I'm just showing you here. You can hardly tell where the fabric was joined. To get this result, your patterns must align. This time I didn't overlock. I joined it back using French seam. I didn't like the long black thread from the overlocking. I cleaned off all raw edges using the zigzag stitch on my machine. So that's it for me, guys. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye!